I think I'd made the comment to you about the fact that we had made the decision not to create a policy that would then take us 3 or 4 months to get approved, only to then have it be not meaningful. And Lydia gave me such sort of confidence in our approach to be iterative and to look at guidelines and to keep going back and forth within this circle of, iterate, assess, reassess, reflect, reiterate. And I think my sense is that it is helping our teachers feel that they are engaged in the process of learning together. So we're very grateful to have you supporting us. So I'm going to turn it over to, so we're going to ask a couple of questions of Lydia, and then we'll open it up to the audience. I'm going to turn it over to Jill.
Thank you. Lots of really big ideas. I was struck by a couple of words you were using. So I heard gut, I heard inclination, I heard intuition. I started my career as an English teacher, and I remember the first time we read a poem, it was always with our gut. That's the first feeling. And I don't know if intuition and gut is something that we talk a lot about in education, or we talk a lot about with young people. I'm not sure if that is something we're seeing as a skill to cultivate. And increasingly, I think just through your talk, that feels like something very central that we need to be cultivating as a skill. And I'm just wondering your thoughts on what is the opportunity in education to be centering elements such as intuition, and do you see that as potentially something, a path forward?
I think that, thank you for this wonderful question. Yes, it's true. We don't talk about gut feelings. We don't talk about intuition a lot in education. And, we focus on a lot of like procedural formulaic, the way to get it right. That's the way to write the SAT essay. Doing a hamburger, first you do this. And but in workplace is often the important decisions are these intuitions, this judgment call. You almost, it's never really clear to you. There's no really one procedure to do things, but you have an inclination of how to approach that. And how do you cultivate that? I think it's, again, making learning real again. You're not going to cultivate that intuition just having students write SAT essays by repeating the same procedural, or giving students the impression that is learning. Again, I understand the importance of standardized tests, especially, given our current, education culture and university mission. I'm not dismissive of that. And I think, I think this what makes teachers' jobs so hard is, on the one hand, we have to stay grounded in reality to be accountable of how to prepare a student to succeed in our current system, but at the same time have a future look into like what's ultimately important for them when they actually go to the real world. So I think on the one hand, I'm not saying don't do the SAT essay preparation, but to let our learners know that is not the only thing we're learning. There's much more to it. And these are things, the experiences doing this community work, engaging real world problem solving with community partners, these can feel extremely soft in some ways. Like, what is the grade for that? How do you gonna assess that? How do you know student engaging collaborative learning? How do you know, like, to what extent they are cultivating their judgment, intuition from the experience? Again, these things are so hard to measure. That's why we don't measure them. It's so hard to present that in a quantitative way. And our society have a culture that unless something is quantifiable, something's measurable is almost not important anymore. But these things really count. These so-called soft skills are going to become the hard skills in the age of AI. So to signal to our students that this work feels soft, you might, not having a good time with your group members in this group project, but that's so important because you're learning conflict management. You're learning how to be open to another person. In a very individualistic society, these are gold. These are gold moments and teachable and learnable moments. But I don't think our learners understand that's important. Again, in a society that highly prioritizes efficiency, with learning, I think our learner quickly be like, oh, I'd rather just do that myself. That's not very, I'd rather just do that work by myself. And I think these are all missed learning opportunities, and the learners don't even realize they're missing this real opportunity to cultivate these future hard skills, which though they are feeling soft these days. So I think we need to make that clear to our students why these things are so meaningful. Yeah.